Hey guys, what's going on? It's been a really busy week for me. I don't know about you all, but I've been really exhausted with some events running lately. But we're here to make a Gundam Evolution tier list because I think it's about due time I make one. Some people have been requesting that. And I want to preface this by saying I am not a very competitive player. I played this game for fun. I enjoyed this game. I don't really grind the competitive scene because, well, first of all, worse matchmaking. Duh. I don't want to get matched up with any of the new types, but also because I don't really have time in my schedule in order to do so. In that case, then, you can think of this as a general estimate of what I think, carrying a casual game would look like for the average shooter, but also it's like my personal tier list. Do not get your panties in a bunch just because I put something in D or S rank, right? Let's just have fun with this. And with that, let's talk about a suit that I've had a lot of fun with recently, and that's the Mahiru. The Mahiru is fucking fun. I'm not going to lie, it's a really fun mobile suit as of now. And he's also kind of trash. We're gonna put him in D tier. I really wish I could recommend people play Mahiru now. And I have recommended playing Mahiru to some people. But the thing you have to realize with Mahiru is that he needs a good team to create sort of a line and create situations that he can just go off and do AoE and secure those big AoE mega particle cannon hits that stun people. And if you don't have a good Sazabi or Hyperion, or you don't have a good DPS like somebody's playing Pale or something like that, it's super fucking hard to play Mahiru at that point. And at that point, if your team is losing and you're getting like maybe a lot of damage done, but you're not secured kills, I would suggest you take something else. But when I'm playing with friends and when I'm playing with people in the Flag Fighters Discord, link in the description by the way, Mahiru is actually not bad to run. I think he provides a lot of AoE. He's really good. I really want to put him in C. I really want to put him in C. But there's better mobile suits that you can play. And by better, I mean like Guntank. Guntank is a solid C tier pick. I'm going to put him right in the middle there. I love Guntank. He's really fun. In casuals, he's super good in casuals because you don't have to aim. But keep in mind that Guntank still have rather low DPS and that you can't really secure kills without using your abilities. And that's what separates a good Guntank player from like a really bad Guntank player. Bad Guntank players will just sit back and shoot and go pew 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 pew. Good Guntank players get in people's faces, run them over with the charge attack and point blank cannon shot in their face or something like that. I think Guntank is really good utility wise because of the res, and the core fighter, man, I'm not very good at it personally, but I've seen friends that have just absolutely gotten the sickest gun core fighter explosions. So that puts him in a solid C tier. Yeah, wait, I should probably tell you what these tiers mean to me. D tier means that, hey, you can sort of play this, but you have to realize that they're mechanically really hard and probably not very good, but they are very fun still. C tier means they're fun units, and I guess every tier is fun, so I'm not going to say that anymore. They're good units, they're solid picks, but there are better units. B tier is like, this is really good. You should try to have one of the B tier units in maybe most of your team comps. A means that these are really good and you should probably almost like have these all the time on your team comps. And S tier means that this is broken, it needs to be nerfed. So I'm gonna reserve S tier for probably the best of the best of the best. And there's probably not going to be a lot of that. A lot of people with other tier lists, I feel like they put S tier up there and it just They just put too much stuff in S tier. I feel like that needs to be reserved for something very special. And something really special and dear to my heart right now is the Exia. I've been playing a lot of Exia lately, and I honestly think that I'm gonna piss off Mood, because Mood is the guy who plays a lot of fucking Exia on Twitch. He's probably gonna be mad if I put Exia in A tier, because I really like Exia. So I'm gonna put him in B tier. He's pretty good. He's not perfect. He got nerfed again, kinda, because his headshot damage went down. But that 2 seconds on the charge blade really helps the flow of Exia. And if you're a really good Exia player, you'll really feel the difference. If you're not a very good Exia player, you'll never feel that difference. But I love learning him. I love the fact that you don't have to reload with him, and he has a really good like dagger throwing. I love going in and out. I love doing Trans M. He's a really, really fun unit to get your adrenaline up. But he's really hard to play, and his damage is actually not that good. It's kind of low. To properly play Exia, you need a couple of things to go right. You need a good team comp. You definitely need a tank on your team to distract enemies with. And that's why we're going to put Sazabi in the A tier. The A tier Sazabi means you probably want a Sazabi in every single match. There's a couple of tank units in the game now, and I think Sazabi is still one of the top contender picks in every match. I remember watching the 20k tournament that just happened recently, and people were talking about, the commentator were talking about how Sazabi is still probably a must pick in a lot of situations. He just brings everything. He brings tankiness, he brings a stun, good mobility, wall hacks. It's everything. I can carry with Sazabi pretty easily in casual matches. You get into people's faces and you blow them up. Even against melees, I think Sazabi has the best time against melees. Sure, Barbados can dunk you with his full combo, but Barbados can do that way easier against a GM or a Hyperion. Then you might be saying, hey, GM's got that knockback thingy. That's gonna be good. Yeah, sure, but Sazabi's got a tomahawk that will stun and stop the Barbados from charging his right click. And if you land that, which it's not too bad if you're running against a casual Barbados and not a rank Barbados, it's, you stun him, you pump him with 2 shotgun, and he's done. He's done. He's out of here. And speaking of pumping 2 shots into somebody, I think Gundam is in a really good place right now. I'm gonna put Gundam in B tier in casual. There's a lot of situations where I see people not shooting the super napalm, which is fucking hilarious. And I've yelled at my own teammates for doing this. I've yelled at so many people for not shooting the napalm that like I've trained my friends to shoot the napalm, because I'm just like, shoot the fucking napalm, shoot the fucking napalm, please, dear God, somebody. Because we've lost games. This one game in particular, where I was a Sazabi defusing, and there was somebody threw a napalm, a Gundam napalm, threw it down, and there were 3 people next to me that were not shooting the napalm. I was the one defusing, so I get a free pass, but 3 people not shooting the Gundam napalm. It went off, and then we lost the defuse and lost the game. That was so infuriating. And I'm honestly gonna say that, like, in casuals, if you're a good Gundam that can click heads, that is a lot of bursts that other units just can't really replicate in the same way. I know that Marsai just got damage buff, but it still doesn't have like a big enough sort of headshot multiplier. The only unit that really comes close with Gundam's close range DPS is probably let's say Zakuju ranged, or Ashmar kind of gets close, but it's not like quite, because Ashmar still has to land a couple more shots since it's a burst rifle. So Gundam really has that big DPS units, plus it has a stun, plus it has a shield, plus the movement is pretty good on it. I'm gonna put it as a solid B tier pick. Yeah, And I think the counter though is going to be the inverse. I'm gonna start putting Marsai, although up in A tier. Now this is really strange because Marsai was not very good recently. The shield meta was the Hyperion and the new Gundam, and all of these shield units. Actually, so sorry, I should probably not put Marsai. I'm gonna put him at the top of the B tier, better than Gundam, because I think that Marsai with the health buff of 1,300 has a way more impactful G maneuver. Was AOE stun. Hello, love AOE stuns. That's the best thing in any game. For you, anyways, not for the enemy team, but for you, AOE stuns are awesome. That plus the buff on its main weapon, it means that like you have more opportunities to use that AOE stun. So Marsai, although less one-shotty, is definitely one of my favorites, especially on the new Berry City map. On Berry City, Marsai is really, really good, and I love playing him just to get that first 1 or 2 picks in the beginning to make them lose points. That's really important, and the AOE always helps you get it back. Since some of the slower sort of shield units don't really work that well on Berry City, such as like Hyperion. GM is okay on Berry City, but yeah, if you see a lot of shield units though, you should probably not play Marsai. You should probably switch off and play like Gundam or somebody else with like another stun. And speaking of shield units though, let's put Hyperion up there. I love Hyperion. He's really good. I think he's probably A tier. His Frontier buff is really good, down to 6 seconds, which means that he can spam it a lot more. He can get probably 1 or 2 rotations before his shield, the bubble Amare Luminaire comes back up. And also, it helps with his range deficiency, and it helps with killing down bodies because you can headshot with this. So even though his magazine size is still pitiful and he can't really kill anyone within 1 magazine because of how short his range is, the full Frontier buffs really helps him in that. And I love playing Hyperion now again, if you can manage your cooldowns correctly, which is cool. I like that. His ultimate is still like, you know, mid-range, but that shield bubble really sort of like gives you a lot of opportunity to make plays, especially on the diffuse or planting phase, right? Okay, let's move on to something else entirely. Breaking from that line of thoughts, let's talk about a unit that is the top, the best, the greatest, the unbeatable. It's fucking Pale Rider again. Oh man, this happens every time, and I'm not sure why, but I guess maybe just Japan just doesn't play enough Pale Rider or something. I don't know. I honestly am very baffled because every single time I'm sort of like make a tier list either offline or on video now, Pale Rider is always up there. He's just really good. He's just superb. He does damage, he has healing, he has like the fastest healing in the game or something. His grenades are fucking fantastic. His ult is fucking fantastic. He's a solo carry unit. He can do anything and everything. He has an EMP that slows, that really counters people like Barbados or a Zakutu range that's trying to dash like across you, because that slow is actually pretty hefty. Yeah, I don't think I need to explain why a Pale Rider is the best. He's just the best, and also he has 30 bullets now, so suck it, everybody else, I guess. Just take it. And I think one of the things that people say is very overpowered as well is Stormtrooper, but I don't think Stormtrooper is that overpowered anymore, especially in casual play, simply because the coordination that you need, it's like, well, you want to get good value on your ultimate, but it doesn't really kill, but you still do really good splash damage. which is super cool. And you do still have really good damage, but his damage also got nerfed, and his AoE radius got nerfed. So there's like a lot of things, a lot of factors that bring Stormtrooper down a bit, and especially because he is now less capable of tanking shots since his health is also 1,100. I don't know. I just don't feel like I've seen Stormtroopers really dominate whenever I play. I think he's still a really good unit. I think he's still fan-fucking-tastic. I just don't think he's as good as a Pale Rider. So we're not gonna put that in the S tier. We're gonna put it in A tier, which means that you should still strive to have him on a team, just not Pale Rider tier. And the other explosive AoE sort of like rocket trooper is down here, down here on the bottom. But somebody else that I kind of like playing a lot more now is Heavy Arms. Heavy Arms, when I started playing Heavy Arms for the videos, I really hated him. I really did not like him because he's so slow, man. And you might be thinking, well, what do you mean? Doesn't he have a jump that makes him twirl in the sky and then like flip around? Yes, he does have that. However, in order to get good damage, he also needs to stay fucking still. Basically still. And there are so many things in this game that can punish you for staying still. Stuns, tomahawks, AoE, mines, melee people, so many things that can punish you for staying still, and Heavy Arms does have some of the health to help you tank that. However, he is also really just slow because G-dashing doesn't really work that well on him. However, I do have to admit now he does a lot more damage, and that's probably a really good thing because whenever I'm playing him, his ultimate is still fantastic. It's a really good AoE ultimate. His damage is still great. The ability to get height by himself as a DPS is really useful. So I'm going to put him up there. I'm probably going to put him before Gundam just because of the G maneuver is really impactful, especially on point. It's way better than Super Napalm. So Heavy Arms is going to go up there. Plus, if you have a good team, like let's say a good combo with Unicorn Heavy Arms or Stormtrooper giving armor to Heavy Arms, he's a lot more survivable in that situation. And now that he got the damage buff, 800 DPS is nothing to scoff at. It's so good at situations where there's bullets hits, but it's so good. Speaking of somebody that sort of counters Heavy Arms for staying still, it's the sniper. It's everybody's favorite. It's the sniper. He snipes things, one-shot things, and if you're playing Heavy Arms and you're like setting up, watch out for this guy because he's gonna one-shot you, or not one-shot you, two-shot you, but he could deal significant damage, and any tickle damage will just kill you right off. But I'm still gonna have to put the GM sniper in C tier since he's kind of just being outclassed right now. I know some people are like, GM Sniper is overpowered. He does so much damage. He can one-shot the entire team in like six bullets. Yeah, okay, dude. You don't know how many. There's a lot of shield units in the game right now, okay? The GM Sniper is so prone to being pushed all around. Now that we have another sniper character in the playing pool, the GM Sniper is just falling out of favor just all around. Its damage is still good, jump pad still good, but everything else is just being outclassed by the superior Dynamis. And I'm gonna put Dynamis on A tier. I think Dynamis is really good. I think his toolkits, it works really well together. His fire rate is cool. He actually doesn't do that much more damage than GM Sniper. I actually will say that Dynamis has a... Okay, ambulance is gone. But Dynamis actually has a way better damage output. Sorry, way less damage output than GM Sniper, but he has more ammo to compensate for that. He has better health to compensate for that. And I think generally speaking, then, because of that, statistically speaking, Dynamis should not have way more DPS than GM Sniper. But realistically speaking, in game, Dynamis just have way better tools and way better utility, and he also can switch to his backup pistols that deal a lot of damage. So overall, Dynamis is a fan-fucking-tastic unit, sniper unit, or DPS unit in general. His only weakness is that he doesn't have a lot of AoE, which means that he will need somebody else to sort of like flush out those corners for him. He needs some precise aim. And I would say that on maps where snipers work, you should try to have a Dynamis on your team. 100% is a really good unit. All right, let's move on to somebody that was not very happy this patch. The new Gundam. Just D tier. So I said it was gonna be like 2 units down there. I personally, I really hate playing this unit now. He felt really good in the last season. He's probably a C tier unit, honestly. He's probably not as bad as the Mahiru. But man, that nerf that he gets is massive, and will really actually suggest staying away from him, because your funnels are also dependent on your ping. If your ping is really high, your funnels don't actually hit. That's something that the people in the new Gundam community, or I guess chat, kind of sort of starting to figure out, is that relatively speaking, you're gonna be doing not a lot of damage if your ping is not consistent. So not only did they nerf his damage, his magazine size, and his funnel damage, I hate the way that his gun works, because the fire rate really messes up with it's like different from every other gun in the game. It really messes up my aim, and it is still a fun unit to play, not gonna lie, but man, does it need so much more help now than anybody else. And plus, his hitbox is still big. So I'm having trouble like thinking about why you would pick New Gundam over a lot of other stuff. Yes, his G maneuver is still really good, but you can have a Hyperion in that role and pick somebody else as like sort of DPS, right? I think the only reason you would pick New Gundam now is for his G maneuver, and no other reason. And since his damage is nerfed, you're also going to get that G maneuver less in the game. So not really recommending playing New Gundam as of now. I feel like I also feel like playing New Gundam versus the Dynamis is really hard, because Dynamis just have better range, and Dynamis can sort of like almost 2-tap the New Gundam with 2 headshots, and that's really hard. That's really hard to play the New Gundam, because that's usually the range that you want to be staying at. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I have not been having fun on New Gundam as of now. He just got mega burst, and I hope they either revert the primary damage nerf or the magazine nerf. And speaking of nerfs, you know who should probably get one? Oh wait, no, sorry. Speaking of nerfs, do you know who's been getting nerfed consecutively for like all the patches somehow, and still is a really good unit? Turn A. Hey, I love playing Turn A on specific maps where the choke point is just right and you moonlight, butterfly all over them. That's a really good feeling. Turn A is still pretty decent. It's not overpowered anymore. It's not a total counter to melee anymore, because they keep nerfing that judo throw. The Moonlight Butterfly is still pretty good, but obviously you need a good situation to pull it off. It's a solid unit. I don't really know what else to say. It's got good defense, nice offense. Moonlight Butterfly is always good. The only thing is that it struggles with dealing with mid-rangers. It's good at dealing with really close rangers, and it's good at long range, but it has sort of trouble dealing with people like if a Pale Rider or a Gundam gets in the Turn A's face, the Turn A sort of have the hard time struggling to burst them down, and they might lose the 1v1 simply because the Turn A just doesn't have the good DPS. Like, the long range is really good because Turn A doesn't have fall off on his primary, but in that mid-range situation, kind of loses a little bit. But that's okay. That's not his strength. And speaking of close range, let's talk about the melee units. Let's talk about Barbie. Barbie's good. I like Barbie. I can't play Barbie for shit. And I know people complain about Barb, but he's honestly really not that super good. What he does is he makes people afraid because he has a lot of mobility and he has one-shot potential, and his ultimate is really good. However, honestly speaking, he's not fantastic by himself. What he does is he creates space for his own team and tries to create that sort of like advantage by picking off somebody. So he wants to get the numeric advantage for his team. So in a way, he has a similar role to, let's say, GM Sniper or Dynamis, except he is melee, and he's honestly really hard to play. I don't know, maybe that's just my opinion. I think Barbados is kind of hard to play, and I like playing. I have an easier time playing Exia than Barbados, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. It's something about his right click, his melee, that I just can't seem to land it. Hitbox is a little bit too narrow for me, but that means that he's in a good place where he's like pretty skill expressive and he's pretty good. And I would highly recommend putting Barb on a team if you can, because I think a lot of the people in the 20k tournament did run Barbados. So there's that. Barbados didn't get MVP most of the time in terms of damage numbers or whatever, but they did create space and did make the shield units very afraid, and that's really important. Which leads us to the last unit that we have on this list, and that's the GM's Jim. The Jim. I like the Jim. I think he's decent. I don't think he's very good at offense, but man, in a defensive situation, his mines, his C4, his shield, it's all good. It's all good, man. I would run GM though as a supportive backup, sort of like as a secondary tank. So if you have like a Hyperion or a Sazabi, you can choose GM as the secondary option if you need a little bit more healing. If nobody's like, if you don't have a healer, and if you want a little bit more tankiness, you kind of want a GM, or probably better yet, a Unicorn. But if you have like a lot of DPS and needs to be protected, then I would say I would personally run a Hyperion, GM, Unicorn with a Pale, a Zaku 2, and then like a Stormtrooper or something, and I feel like that's a pretty good all-around team comp. So GM, it's nice, it's good. He's a grunt suit, and he's gonna perform well if you put him in the situation he was designed to, and that is holding down the points and countering range units such as Marsai or something like that. But he's not gonna do very well if you try to fucking push with him and fucking pretend that he has the same damage as a Gundam, because he just does not. He's not a huge DPS. He's a supportive tank, and play him that way. And speaking of supports, let's talk about our last two healers of the game. Messes is kind of bad, honestly. The healing rate is down. The damage is still pretty consistent, but the G maneuver charge is like 980 or 9,800 or something. It's super big. It's just not as good as the Unicorn, because the Unicorn is fucking A tier. The Unicorn might even be S tier. I think you need a Unicorn in probably every team composition, because the armor that you get from Unicorn is just so important, and that hasn't changed in any of the seasons. Unicorn is consistently A tier. Messes kind of does fall down from B tier to C tier, in my opinion, because Messes has almost no place in the meta right now. I think if you want a transformable unit, you go as Ashamar. Ashamar is A tier, better than Dynamis. If you want a transformable unit, you go Ashamar. If you want a healer, you go with Unicorn. I honestly even think that Messes is worse than GM, because Messes just doesn't have that sort of like ability to stay on point. Even with a turret, Messes is probably the squishiest unit on your team, simply because the hitbox for Messes is really big. It's like hips wide. She got a wide hip. Okay, the hitbox is really big because of that, and I don't know. I just don't like playing Messes all that much, and I don't think it really has that much solo carry potential either. But speaking of solo carry, I think I might bring something down from A tier, but here we go. Zakutu. Zakutu is really good. It's not the best, but he's really, really good. And I would say he is S tier on some maps. I think he might be S tier on Thermal Plant. Thermal Plant is a really good map for Zakutu range. Just because all the corners and stuff that he can duck into, and the sight lines that he can abuse. Zakutu range is really good on Thermal Plant. And honestly, he's probably S tier on that. And on every other map, he's probably B tier. He struggles, in my opinion, a little bit with non-domination maps, or maps that has like a straight layout where he can't easily get behind people without them noticing. And that's really important for Zakutu range to do. He needs to get behind people. He needs to flank people a lot, or else he's just gonna get blown the fuck up, forced to blow smoke screen, and just, you know, he just doesn't do anything, because he's not a frontline fighter. He is a assassin. He's a melee fighter in disguise, and I would even argue that he's probably the game's version of a spy, a stealth unit, if you will, because of his smoke screen, his invulnerability. But Zakutu range is very situational, just like, you know, a lot of units, but I think he's even less situational, or even more situational than probably Dynamis, Ashmar, Hyperion. Like, A tier units are generally just really good stuff, and if you pick, let's say, I would say Hyperion and Sazabi are like tanks that you can change out, but let's say you have a team of Pale, Dom, Unicorn, Sazabi, Ashmar, and Dynamis. That's pretty fucking good. That's pretty fucking good. Like, you can switch out Dynamis with probably any of these with a situation, or even like a Barb with any of like the situation requires it. But like, that's a pretty fucking good team. Even like, of course, Zakutu, you can switch out the Dynamis with. But Ashmar is still really good. Napalm, boom, fire, perfect. The last one we're gonna talk about, because the recording is getting really long. Holy shit, I've been talking for a long time. Is Zakutu Melee. This guy is super, super cool. But man, he's fucking bad. Okay, alright, I'm gonna change it. There you go, new Gundam. You're no longer D tier. Zakutu Melee is fucking bad, bro. He's really, really bad in a lot of situations. And there are some maps, like, if you're trying to play Zakutu on Buried City, don't. Just don't. Just fucking don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, man. Don't force yourself in that situation. I had like a roulette thing going on, and I played Zakutu Melee on fucking Buried City, and it was the worst experience of my life. You have no angles to push when you're on attack because the sight lines are all so long. They're like 300 meters. Like, how are you supposed to get into melee? You just can't. It's fucking awful. I don't want to play Zakuto melee, and neither should you. And the best way to counter Zakuto melee is, ironically, just go as a Pale Rider, because when he's charging up to you, pop that EMP down, and now he's slow as shit, and you can just dash away from him. Honestly, that's probably the best tip that I can give to countering Zakuto melee, because I know he's kind of a little shit sometimes, where when he swings his axe, his hitbox actually changes, or if he crouches, his hitbox changes, and he gets into your face and he has your vulnerability. Trust me, he's not that big of a deal to deal with. You can pick any of the A tier units and deal with him just fine. Just need to coordinate a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I fucking hate playing Zakuto melee. He's the worst. I'm gonna maybe get flack for them. I like playing my hero. I honestly, if this is a tier list for personal enjoyability, my hero. Okay, this is the final. All right, before I do that, this is the final tier list. This is it. This is it. I've been talking for almost 40 minutes now, but this is it. This is the final tier list I'm gonna be running for my personal enjoyment list. Let's switch it up real quick. Extra goes here, Pale goes here, Guntank goes here, Hero goes here, Stormtrooper goes here. Sounds of me, Dynamis. Actually, I really enjoy playing Dynamis. Marsai up here, Gundam up here. I don't like playing her. I don't like playing sniper. I fucking hate playing sniper. Yes. Ashmar is pretty good. I do enjoy playing Ashmar, but not as much as Pale in situations. And then Gundam goes here. Yada yada yada. Mahir probably goes down here. And then we'll put Pale up here. And then this is the personal enjoyment list that I would probably go with. I think I'm enjoying actually a lot right now. I'm enjoying Marsai a lot right now. I can't play Marsai all the time because of shield units, but I enjoy him a lot. And then this is my other sort of like enjoyment list. But that's it for the tier list, everybody. If you are sticking around for 40 minutes of me rambling, thank you so much. But you should probably, get some water, touch some grass, and I'll see you on the next video. Ciao.